7 huge mistakes people make in old age that destroy their happiness. Mistake number 1. Waiting for others to make you feel valued. One of the most damaging mistakes people make in old age is expecting others, children, friends, society, to make them feel important. This subtle waiting game creates silent suffering. When the calls don't come, when people forget your birthday, or when your opinion is ignored, you start to internalize the belief that you don't matter anymore. But here's the truth. The world doesn't slow down to recognize your worth. You have to decide every single day that you're still valuable. Happiness after 60, 70, or 80 isn't handed out like a reward. It's claimed, sometimes stubbornly, by those who refuse to let their self-worth be outsourced. The longer you wait for others to validate your existence, the more resentment builds. You begin to feel invisible, when in reality, the invisibility started the moment you handed your sense of value over to someone else. The antidote? Begin to recognize your own importance again. Volunteer, mentor, create, speak. Your voice matters, but only if you use it. You are not a relic. You are a library, a lighthouse, and a legacy all at once. Own that. Mistake number 2. Holding on to grudges like trophies. Bitterness has a weight, and the older we get, the heavier it becomes. Grudges might feel justified, especially when they've lasted for decades. But what many don't realize is that holding on to past resentment is like carrying around a backpack full of stones while trying to enjoy a walk in the sun. It robs you of joy. It steals your presence. And worst of all, it contaminates your view of the present with the shadows of the past. In old age, forgiveness is not about excusing people who hurt you. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional debts they left behind. People cling to old betrayals like they're a part of their identity. But ask yourself, do you really want your golden years defined by pain someone else caused you 30 years ago? There is deep, quiet power in releasing that which no longer serves your peace. Some people think that forgiving means forgetting, but really, it means deciding that your future matters more than your history. Mistake number 3. Letting the body dictate the mind. As people age, it becomes so easy to let physical decline dominate their entire identity. A stiff joint, a weak back, a diagnosis. These things start to shape how you see yourself. But honestly, this is a dangerous shift. When you begin to identify only with what your body can no longer do, your mind slowly gives up too. The real tragedy is not in aging itself, but in surrendering to it mentally. Happiness in old age demands that you keep growing, even if your body protests. Read, paint, learn a new skill, write your story. Too many people shut down the moment their body slows down, forgetting that the mind can stay young as long as it's fed. The worst mistake is thinking your story is over just because you've entered the final chapters. In truth, these chapters can be the most meaningful. If you refuse to let your physical limits become mental prisons, move your body as much as you can, yes, but never stop moving your mind. That's how joy keeps finding you, through curiosity, not comfort. Mistake number 4. Isolating yourself and calling it peace. There's a fine line between solitude and loneliness, and well, many older adults cross it without realizing. After retirement, after children move away, after partners pass on or friendships fade, many retreat into a shell. They convince themselves that they prefer being alone. And while solitude can be healing, isolation is a slow, silent killer of joy. Humans are social creatures, no matter your age. One of the biggest mistakes is thinking you no longer need connection because it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. But studies show over and over that social interaction is one of the biggest predictors of emotional and even physical well-being in later life. Reach out, join a group, talk to your neighbors, start conversations even if they feel awkward. Don't let pride stop you from being the one who reaches first. Connection isn't just for the young, it is the oxygen of the soul. Don't deny yourself that breath. Mistake number 5. Believing it's too late to start something new. Perhaps the most soul-damaging myth in old age is the idea that your time to start fresh has passed. People stop dreaming. They stop setting goals. They think, why bother? But honestly, this is the exact moment when your wisdom, your time, and your perspective align to make you more powerful than ever. You don't need a long runway to launch something meaningful. Some of the most touching, beautiful, and impactful works in the world have been created by people in their 60s, 70s, or even 80s. It could be a memoir, a small business, a garden, a podcast, a painting, a new relationship, or even just a deeper version of yourself. Life didn't stop when you turned a certain age. Your courage just got quieter. Dust it off. Begin again. Maybe this time you won't care what others think. Maybe this time you'll do it for you. Happiness in old age blooms in the soil of new beginnings. Don't let fear talk you into being done. Mistake number 6. Living in a world that no longer exists. Nostalgia can be a warm place to visit, but it's a cold place to live. One of the most damaging things older people do is get stuck in the past. Not just remembering it, but trying to return to it emotionally. The music was better, the values were stronger, the people were kinder, and everything today feels foreign and disappointing. But the past is a finished book, and trying to live in it only leads to disconnection and unhappiness. Clinging to old ways in a rapidly changing world doesn't preserve your dignity, it isolates you. True happiness in old age comes when you engage with the present, not just tolerate it. Learn about the new world, even if you don't agree with all of it. Talk to young people without judgment. Be curious instead of critical. The world may have changed, but that doesn't mean it has nothing left for you. When you adapt, even a little, you give yourself permission to live fully. The alternative is stagnation, and stagnation is the enemy of joy. Mistake number 7. Measuring happiness by what you've lost instead of what you still have. Loss becomes a companion in old age. You lose people, roles, abilities, places. And if you're not careful, you begin to measure your life by subtraction instead of appreciation. This mindset turns life into a museum of what's missing. But happiness doesn't survive in a home filled with only memories and mourning. It thrives in the soil of gratitude. What do you still have? Eyes to see the sunrise. Hands to hold a grandchild's fingers. A heart that still loves. A mind that still wonders. The moment you start counting blessings instead of voids, something inside you changes. Life no longer feels like it's slipping away. It starts to feel like it's still unfolding, just in a gentler, deeper way. Shift the lens. Look around. There is still so much beauty left. Don't let your final chapters be a list of what's gone. Let them be a celebration of what remains, and who you've become because of it. Old age doesn't destroy happiness. Mindsets do. These 7 mistakes are common, but they're not destiny. The truth is, happiness after 60 or 70 doesn't arrive automatically. It's not a prize for surviving. It's a practice, a choice, a quiet rebellion against bitterness, regret, and stagnation. And the good news? It's never too late to rewrite your emotional script. You can still choose joy. You can still forgive. You can still connect, grow, laugh, start over, and live well. Not because you're trying to defy time, but because you're finally honoring it. Make these years count, not by how many you have left, but by how deeply you live the ones you still hold. Aging is not the end of your story. It's the part where your wisdom finally becomes your freedom. Choose happiness, especially now.